Hello and welcome back. We are going to continue to work on our project. Today is lesson 4.05. We are going to continue to add details to our room, including things like crown molding, baseboard, floor, ceiling. So let's go ahead and take a look. We're going to go ahead and close this. And we're back out here at our desktop. First thing we want to do is open up the project we have been working on. So I'm going to go to my File Explorer button down here at the bottom. I'm going to go to Documents, Digital Art, and find that 1-point perspective room. And in here, not the box project, but the room project. And I'm going to double click to open. That will open in, mine's set to open in a previewer. So I'm going to right click, open with, and tell it to open with the program Paint. There we go. All right, so here is our program. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to add some crown molding. The crown molding is the area on the wall that kind of hides the seam where the wall and the ceiling meet. So we're going to put a piece of trim up there. To do this, we're going to start with our line tool. We're going to make sure our line tool is 1 pixel wide. We're going to start at our vanishing point. So right here at the intersection of the cross, I'm going to start there, and I'm going to go up here to the left top corner. Now, I have to decide how wide do I want my crown molding to be. That would be way too wide and look awkward, and that would be too thin and too detailed. Keep your details kind of bigger and chunky. All right, so I'm happy with that, so I'm going to set that line. Now, if we were really putting crown molding on this wall, we would do this wall and then we would move to the back wall. So we're going to do that part next. We're going to start where that diagonal line intersects with the vertical line of the wall. We are going to start at that intersection and we're going to draw across the back of our wall. We're going to hold our Shift button and we're going to make sure that that line is perfectly straight and intersects with that vertical on the right side. I'm going to click off of that shape there. So that is set and a part of the background. Now I'm going to start by clicking again at my vanishing point. I want to do the trim on the right side wall. So I'm going to click on the vanishing point, draw up, and I need that trim to match. So I'm going to pay attention and keep my eyes right here at that intersection. And I'm going to bring that line up until it hits that intersection. Right there. Where am I at? Right there. Release. And I have my line. So now this is the crown molding that I have in my composition. I'm going to zoom in. Undo, get rid of that dot. Click on my magnifying glass. And I'm going to click on my eraser tool. And this time I'm just going to erase the line beyond the crown molding. So I'm going to very carefully get close. Click once or twice there. And then I can click and drag to erase the rest of this close to my vanishing point. Slide over here to the right side and do the same thing and erase this as well. Now this is crown molding. The baseboard is going to be the same. So I'm going to zoom back out and I'm going to go through that process one more time. So line tool, click on my vanishing point, draw down over here to the right side. When I'm happy with my height of my baseboard, I'm going to click. I'll click off the line to set it. I'm going to continue with the back wall. So at that intersection, I'm going to click, draw across the back wall, hold my Shift button so it's perfectly straight. I'm going to release my mouse, then release the Shift button. Looks good, so I'll click off that line to set it in place. I'm then going to go to my intersection, my vanishing point, sorry. I'm going to pay attention to this intersection right here and I'm going to go out. I'm going to start high and drag it down when it meets. I'm going to release and I'll click off the line to set it in place. At this point, I'm going to click on the magnifying glass. I'll click on my back wall and clean up what I don't need. Using my eraser tool close, very carefully. Remember, every pixel counts, so we do not want to erase more than we absolutely need. Keep what we have. All right, that is looking pretty awesome. I'm going to zoom back out to 100%. Nicely done. So that's crown molding and baseboard. All right, now I'm going to show you floor or ceiling. Okay, and you can decide how you want to do this. I'm going to put in a random wooden floor on this composition. So I'm going to start with my line tool. I'm going to start with the vanishing point. We always start with our vanishing point, and I'm going to draw some floor lines. So I'm going to draw from the vanishing point, and I'm going to do some that are narrow, some that are wide, and each time starting again neatly at that vanishing point. Let's do another thin one. And I'm just clicking. And if I make some extra marks back here, I'm going to erase them. Not a big deal. I'm going to do this the whole way across. Oops, I didn't mean to move it. Be careful not to move your lines. All right, so there is my floor. Going back to the vanishing point, I have a lot of cleanup work to do, so I'm going to click on my magnifying glass, zoom in. Now this time I have to clean up beyond the baseboard, but I also have to go in and clean up inside the baseboard. Carefully clicking so that I don't delete my baseboard. Oops, I think I just erased a line right here in the middle of my project. Control Z, undo, as I was trying to zoom in and get a little closer. Okay, this is going to take me a little bit, so I'm going to go ahead and keep erasing. Okay, I'm going to zoom out. I think I'm done erasing and check out my floor. So at this point, I have all of the essentially one direction lines drawn. I have to draw the other direction. So these lines would be lines that would break up the boards so they're not all the same exact length. So this is going to be a perfectly horizontal line. So I'm going to use the shift button this time. So I'm either creating, if you haven't noticed yet, I'm either creating lines that go to the vanishing point or that are created perfectly straight. I am going to zoom in a bit here to make this a little easier. So no matter what I'm doing, I'm never just randomly drawing a line. Every line is going to line up either with the vanishing point or be that perfectly straight line. We also want to make sure that these lines are touching both sides. For example, that line there, there's a little gap right there. Every pixel counts. It's hard to see, but if I zoom in, actually that one would probably be okay. Even though I'm not real crazy about it, I would like it to be a little stronger. Something, excuse me, more like that. Over here I have a little bit of an extra pixel, so I'll get that eraser tool while I'm zoomed in and clean that up. Okay, pretty happy with that. While I'm here, I'm going to show you the pencil tool. The pencil tool is good for creating one pixel, or if you hold it, multiple pixel lines. The advantage to this is that I can come in right here where there's one pixel and add that pixel in where it needs to be. If there is an extra pixel right here, color 2 comes into play. On my mouse, my regular click is color 1, my other click is color 2. So for me, my regular click is a left click because I'm using my right hand. So if I do a right click, I can actually add white pixels in there, and you don't need to worry about getting the eraser tool. So it's kind of, it can go back and forth. It's a little faster. I'm trying to see where else I want some horizontal lines. If you use that pencil tool for cleanup sometimes, depends on, you know, what exactly you're cleaning up. But this would be a good place for that. So I'm just kind of randomly going in. I had a floor like this in my old house and I loved it. So I'm just kind of randomly going in and placing lines to break up the space. See, like right there, I could use that pencil tool. There we go. Now, this is a wood floor. You could do the same thing. You could create a tile floor, and there are resources for you on how to create tile floors or a tile ceiling, whatever you prefer. I will eventually put a rug in this room as well to break up some of the space. Now, I'm not going to go to this piece up here because remember, that is baseboard. So that is not a floor line. So I just have to be very careful when I'm doing this that I don't think that that's a floor line. Okay, zooming all the way back out. Looks pretty nice. I think I like my composition there and the breakup of my wooden floor. All right, so how do we do tile where we want things to be exactly the same? Or first, let's talk about this first. If you want a wooden ceiling, you would do the same process, but you would do it on the ceiling. Same process, and you could have a beautiful wooden ceiling. I chose to do this as my floor. Same thing with tile. Okay, I can do tile anywhere. I'm going to start tile though. This is one of those weird lines that I'm going to start by drawing a diagonal from corner to corner. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw from the vanishing point, and I'm going to try to do this by eye. We want to make sure these tiles are about the same width. I'm checking it back here. But that diagonal line is going to be very important here. And I'm doing this kind of quickly, so take your time. Do a nice job. Okay, that looks pretty close. So that diagonal line is just a guideline to help me figure out where to divide my tiles up horizontally. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom in, and I'm going to start maybe on this bottom section here. Where this first diagonal line comes across, where it hits right here on this diagonal line for the tile division, I'm going to start and I'm going to draw a line all the way over horizontally. And then I'm going to come to the next one where that diagonal line hits and do the same thing. And remember that that diagonal line is helping to create accurate spacing for my tiles so that my tiles are slowly getting bigger as they get closer to me, the viewer. Okay, now I'm only doing the left side right now, but I will do the right side. I'm going to zoom over just a little, or scroll over just a little bit to finish this up on the right side of the room. And my last one's here. Okay, now I'm going to do the same thing going towards the left. So I'm going to start here, and where that hits here, I'm going to continue that line to the other ceiling where my crown molding is. That looks a little high. You can use the keyboard keys on your keyboard, the arrow keys, to help you get really close if you're like 1 pixel away. I'm going to draw these all the way across. Now, do you have to do this? No. Do you have to do one? You have to do something on your ceiling and something on your floor. You don't have to go to the extent of the tile. That's why one of the reasons I like the wooden floor. It's a little bit more abstract. It's not as technical, let's say. So I like it a little bit for that reason. I can't see my side over there. Let's see. Extend this over. There. So if you are not into this super technical ceiling, maybe you would prefer to do the other style floor, or another style, not tile. Okay, and I just need to continue these lines over, and then I should be good. There I got off a little bit. It's not perfectly straight. I would notice it. I don't know that anybody else would notice it. Okay, after you have the division of your tiles, now you can go in and clean up. So I'm going to get my eraser tool. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. But my eraser tool is not going to get me here because I'm going to erase too much. So this is where your eraser tool might have to be super small to get into those little corners. And then also you might have to, oops, I erased a bunch of pixels there I need. You may also have to use that, I did it again, pencil tool to get in super close. So that might just be my reminder there, since I keep erasing, that those are a little bit too tight for me to clean up with an eraser. So I'm going to zoom in even closer. Get that pencil tool. I'm going to use my opposite click on my mouse. So for me, that's a right click. And I'm going to clean up my lines that are really tight in those corners. Again, you decide if this is something that you want to pursue. Because again, this could be very tedious. Whoops, I lost some, so I'm just going to put them back in with my normal click. All right, I'm going to switch to my eraser tool to make this a little bit easier now that I'm away from those tight corners. And just get all of this diagonal out of the way. Okay, and at this point, I'm going to zoom out. You can see how beautiful my tile ceiling looks, but I do have these lines extended through my base or crown molding that I need to adjust as well. So I'm going to click with my eraser. I am going to get a bigger eraser for this one. And erase not only in the baseboard, but also beyond the baseboard, traveling back to that vanishing. All right, I think I got all my cleanup done. Let's zoom back out. Ta-da! Looks good. Now, again, this is not necessarily required. You do not have to have both of these elements. You need to have detail in your room, and this is one way you can provide detail. Before I forget, I am going to hit the Save button up here in the top left-hand corner. Probably should have done that more often in this process. And then we're going to go ahead and take a screenshot of today's progress. So down to my Windows button, click the Snip and Sketch tool. Okay, get rid of the old one. Click New. I'm going to click and drag to, again, select most of the screen, the program and file name and the project itself. Beautiful. I'm going to hit the Save button here in the Snip and Sketch program. I'm going to find my Documents, Digital Art folder, Screenshots. And in here, I'm going to put, this is 4.05, Screenshot. And I'm going to hit Save. All right, so I've saved my screenshot. I'm also going to click that copy button so I can paste that screenshot directly into my sketchbook if necessary. I'm going to go ahead and close that. If you have any questions about drawing your floor, your ceiling, please reach out and let me know. Or if you have any concerns about taking that screenshot and using your sketchbook, please reach out and let me know. Otherwise, folks, enjoy the process.